I'm the Arts Wellness and Activity Program Manager, Director. We run the activities here at the Bar Center, formerly Israel 11 Center, for many, many years. We work in partnership with the Jewish Federation Los Angeles, who owns the building. So I want to introduce Marina Gudelman from the Jewish Federation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marina Gudelman. I'm the Vice President of Operations of the Jewish Federation. And on behalf of the Jewish Federation, we want to welcome you to our beautiful building, Bar Center at the beach. We thank our Jewish Family Services partners for putting this event together. We're really looking forward to hear the conversation, and we love seeing our seniors at our Bar Center at the beach. Once again, thank you, Jewish Family Services and PC Park, for coming out to our building today to have this very important conversation.
And then next, I want to introduce our President and CEO of the Jewish Family Service, Eli Weitzer.
Thank you, Kamiko. First of all, thank you everybody for being here in this beautiful space. This is one of our meal sites that we serve meals at across the city. And those meals are actually funded primarily by the city of Los Angeles. So the services that you're receiving here are partially supported by the work that Tracy Parker and her colleagues do at the city. And we really cannot tell you how much we appreciate it. The life that comes to the center is based on those meals here every day, and it really makes a huge difference for each of you and for the community. So with that, I want to introduce Tracy Park. She is our councilwoman for this district, for the West Side District. And Tracy really came, I think, to this role kind of as an outsider and really seeks to represent these communities on the West Side and the residents of the West Side. And she is here to listen, to hear from you, your concerns, your ideas, your thoughts. Welcome, Tracy Park.
Thank you so much for the very, very warm introduction and the opportunity to bring us together today for this conversation. I think I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to thank you for the incredible work that you do, not just every day, to take care of our seniors and our Jewish community here on the West Side. And I know these last few years have been extraordinarily challenging. But the work that you have done for people in the wake of the Pacific Palisades fire has been really, truly life-changing for so many people who need the extra support. And, you know, to all of you and to so many residents here in Venice who opened your homes and your neighborhoods and your communities and your hearts to people who were displaced in the wake of this disaster, I just want to offer you all my gratitude as well. I know that we have absorbed a lot of new residents into Venice as we have tried to get people stabilized as they deal with what is going to be a very long and difficult recovery process up in the Pacific Palisades. So thank you all for your graciousness during that time. It is really lovely to be with you this afternoon to have an opportunity to talk about some big ticket items and some things that we're doing around the district, and to introduce you to some of our key friends and partners that we do the work with. Certainly, you all know Sean Silva. Sean is your deputy for Venice. All of the great things that go on here in Venice are directly because of Sean and his leadership. This is Greg. Greg works on my team in City Hall. He does a lot of our office-related work. He has been an incredible ally. Jacob Berman, my senior policy advisor in the back. And not last, but definitely not least, our district director, Juan Fregoso. Juan has been out here on the ground every day since we took office. He is an amazing, amazing leader in CD11. And we are super excited to have Sergeant Galvan with us. He is our beach sergeant and some of our beach detail officers. So let's put them on. Let's dive down with do we have Rec and Parks with us today too? Yes, Rec and Parks is there. Awesome. Let's give it up to Rec and Parks. You know, they are out there every single day making sure that our assets and amenities here at the beach are safe and accessible to the entire community. So before I dive into the substance, I just kind of actually want to take a minute and walk back in time. You all remember, of course, the condition of Oceanfront Walk in 2020, in 2021, and 2022. What went on out here at Oceanfront Walk is one of the reasons that I decided to run for office. If you don't know, I live in Venice too, and I saw what was happening in our community. It wasn't just here at Oceanfront Walk, it was all over Venice. There really wasn't a neighborhood that wasn't impacted. It was really all over the west side of Los Angeles. And we knew that homelessness was the top of mind issue for residents, not just in Council District 11, but all over the city of Los Angeles. And so when we came in and took office, we immediately got to work using the tools and the resources that we had available to us. You may remember the very, very large encampment on Sunset and Main outside the Venice Fringe Home. We teamed up with Mayor Bass and her Inside Safe program, and in that very first operation, we housed more than 150 people who had been living on the streets and sidewalks right here in Venice. That was our first operation, and we have not stopped moving ever since. We brought all of our embedded service providers into CD11, got everybody acquainted, because previously they weren't working with any oversight or leadership. They didn't have a combined mission. They weren't coordinating on their plans. We changed all of that and brought everybody in-house and started rolling out together as a team, pulling all of our resources to do large coordinated interventions. We've now been all over Venice. We did Venice and Dell, the Culver Median, Jefferson Boulevard along the Biona wetlands. Of course, you'll remember the very large encampment at the VA, the 10, or the Venice and the 405 freeway. And we have been very, very diligent in making sure that people are given an opportunity to go into interim housing. And then once we've cleared the area, we try to implement the legal tools that we have available to us. Some of you have probably heard of our city's Safe Schools and Parks Ordinance. That is section 4118 of our municipal code. And that allows us to bar tent encampments near certain sensitive use sites like schools, parks, daycares, libraries, senior centers, and homeless shelters. So we have been rolling those out around the district as a way to help maintain our public spaces. And we've been effective at reducing some of those challenges that we've had out here on Oceanfront Walk by using those tools as well. Juan and the entire team out at Oceanfront Walk have been hard at work implementing a lot of different interventions. You may have noticed that we've brought on ambassadors to help us manage the bathrooms. That was an area where, as you all know, we were having major issues with crime and fires and drug use. The ambassadors have been incredibly helpful in ensuring that those facilities are safe and accessible for people who are coming to use our beaches. We also have partnered up very closely with LAPD. Their partnership in helping us address the crime issues at Oceanfront Walk have been instrumental. As you all know, during the summer months, we have an enhanced beach detail. You probably see a lot more of their presence. But even in the winter months, when we don't have as many officers, now that we have a dedicated senior lead officer for Oceanfront Walk and as well our sergeant to cover our entire beach detail, we're actually continuing to see those major improvements. Property crimes have been the #1 crime issue here in CD11, residential burglaries, burglaries from vehicles, those sorts of things. Those types of incidents have actually been improving a little bit. We are pleased to see the progress. LAPD has done a couple of major operations and disrupted some of that behavior, but that continues to be top of mind issue for us and for LAPD too. We have them here and happy to have them participate if we have specific questions for LAPD. Hopefully some of you were able to join us at the mixer at the waterfront a week or two ago. We really encourage you to get involved, get to know your officers, These men and women are out here on the front lines every day. We want you to know them and we want them to get to know you as well. You may have seen recently that we finally broke ground on the Windward Playground. We are very, very excited about that. You may remember that that park basically went missing overnight. It had been removed because there were some safety and structural concerns with some of the equipment. And so during a very long process of community engagement, we've gotten some great feedback and we are super excited about that. We put shovels in the ground. Juan, when do we think the park will be open?
February.
February?
Yeah, going into the spring, February, March, is about the time we got ready.
Yeah, so we're really, really excited about that. February or March is when we are looking to have that open. Some other major improvements and investments that we've been making in and around Oceanfront Walk. Here in a few weeks, you're going to see us doing a major tree trimming project. I see you nodding happily. We are actually going to be trimming over 600 trees right here in the area. We are also working on the pagodas. You can see the condition they're in. They are at this point pretty dilapidated and they are going to need some substantial investment and repair work. We are really working with the community to talk about some ideas on how we can improve and activate those as our public spaces. And especially with major events coming, and I'll get to that a little bit more, getting those safe and accessible and back into a more comfortable, usable form is going to be a huge priority. We launched our last Thursday concert series. Did we launch that in 23 or 24? So we've done it for 2 years in a row now, right? So we have been doing those for the last couple of summers out there. If you haven't had an opportunity to come, those are free and open to the entire community. Great opportunity to come and see your neighbors and to hang out with your CD11 team as well. We are really excited about our Go Skate LA Day, which is going to be next summer. That's in conjunction with Paul Rodriguez. That is going to be a huge major activation for Venice. And speaking of major world activations for Venice, you know, when I took office 3 years ago, I could not have credibly made an ask to host a major world event right here at Oceanfront Walk. That was me. Don't be too scared. I was accidentally rolled a microphone that I don't even move it so I don't scare you again. Venice was not part of the Olympics plan. And Juan and Sean and the team and I have worked really hard to try to get this area under control and to restore order again. And I am very excited to announce that we are going to be hosting major fan zone activations for the World Cup next summer in 2026. And then in 2028, we have major Olympic events coming right here to Oceanfront Walk. Yes. This is something that I am very excited about and worked very hard to make happen for us. Venice was in the headlines for all the wrong reasons, for too long. You'll remember we were rated the most dangerous beach in America. We are back on the Condé Nast top 10 list. And with these opportunities coming into Venice, we have an opportunity to do work on our roads and sidewalks because we are hosting triathlon, marathon, and street cycling, which means our streets and sidewalks are actual competition events. So unless we are switching street cycling to beach cruisers, we might have to do something finally about some of those potholes. So this is going to be a great opportunity to make some major investments right here in the heart of Venice. And we're getting the Paralympic versions of all those sports. And we should hear in the next week or two whether or not we might also be getting Paralympic weightlifting at Muscle Beach. Wow. That will be absolutely epic. I want it so bad I get goosebumps when I think about it. And we have pushed really hard with LA28 to make that happen. So more to come on that. The great news about the Olympics footprint is that all of the businesses along Oceanfront Walk will be able to remain open during the events. We have some concerns about the security footprint because there is a security footprint and it will cause some level of hassle for people who need to come and go through the area. But the great news is all of our businesses are going to be able to remain open. The bike path is going to be able to remain open except during competition hours. And the footprint is out of the way of the Venice skate park, which gives us the opportunity to utilize that space and do some really cool activations of our own. In another hopeful bit of news, we should know on November 10th whether the California State Tax Film and Television Tax Commission has awarded the needed tax credits to the television production of Baywatch. Some of you may remember that, one of the most famous television shows in the history of television. Internationally famous, wants to do a reboot and film that right here in Venice Beach using the Venice Beach Lifeguard headquarters, which will also give us an opportunity to improve what, in my opinion, is a bit of an eyesore that looks like a prison tower out on the beach. So that's the area where they're going to be staging. Be a great opportunity for us to not only keep production work that is so important to our local economy right here, but right here in Venice, where our businesses and others will have an opportunity to benefit from it as well. Obviously, tourism in and around this area is the lifeblood of our local economy. And with tourism numbers still being below where they were in the pandemic, having these major opportunities coming to Venice and getting us back into the headlines for all of the right reasons is an incredible opportunity and something that the team and I are really excited to see through. So that's kind of a really high level wrap up of things that I am and have been working on. Instead of just listening to me prattle on, why don't we take some questions and talk about whatever is on your mind? Yes, sir.
When you think we can get the fencing removed from the building?
We can eventually get the fencing removed. We need to do some repair work to the structures and get those fixed up. And then we're gonna open them. Juan, what do we think the timeline is?
So they're going under a full assessment. We just got a brief update, but let us continue working with RAP to get you more secure dates. Their assessment. Dates to when they'll fully be refurbished on that end. So they did a full assessment on all the pagodas, including the Dudley ones. The goal is to get them all fully refurbished, as the councilwoman mentioned, for the summer events and everything that's coming. So right now they're closed as we finish. We're hoping by the summer, everything right now is for the plans of the summer of 26 is the goal right now.
But you can see if you take a look at them, the wood is rotted, full of termites, the concrete is damaged, the metal and the nuts and bolts are all rusted and need to be replaced. There's quite a bit of work to do. And also, you know, they're a historic part of Venice. And we want to be very careful that they are preserved and that we restore them in a way that protects them. So it's going to take us a little bit of time.
It was fenced because some resident in the area objected to the sounds that were coming from there. I don't know.
I think the Dudley one was originally fenced at the request of neighbors due to some ongoing safety and security concerns. Now they are all being fenced because they are all about to go under major repair work. Yeah, great question. Yes, ma'am.
I'm so glad that you closed the pagoda on Park Place, because that was really a drug infested place.
Well, I think what
Now
happened.
they're down the street, but they're really bad people.
Yeah, and I think once we close the Dudley one, it moves. And, you know, I want to say this about homelessness, because, you know, I talked a little bit about what we've done, but since I took office in January of 2023, this team has housed over 800 people that were living in tents and vehicles on the streets. Everybody that wanted help, that was well enough to say yes when we offered help, we got them. Anecdotally, I will just share with you, and you can see this with your own eyes. We are down to a very difficult to serve population. A lot of behavioral health, addiction, and mental health issues. Adequate legal tools to force the issue with some folks who just simply are not well enough to say yes. Those are policy issues that I am continuing to focus on and try to reform for us. But that is a combination of state and county interventions. You know, when I look at some of those folks who are out there that you're talking about, I don't need an inside safe motel room, right? I need a hospital and a doctor. And there's a handful of folks that frankly, Sergeant Galvan could haul off to jail and I wouldn't cry about it. And the crime and the encampments are interrelated in a lot of ways.
I walk every day at night before sunset, so when you closed it, they were like animals, they were jumping out of my cave, so I had to turn around and walk back. I couldn't even walk past there.
Well, I would caution everyone to remember that although things are better, we're not done yet, and this is still Venice. And you all need to keep your head on a swivel when you are out there, especially you ladies, and especially if you're by yourself. And if you're gonna be out there after dark, I highly, highly recommend walking with a friend. Go as a pair. Even though things are better, there's still some folks that can be unpredictable sometimes. And I also want folks to know when it comes to crime, and one of the constant complaints we hear is it takes too long to get through when you call. That is 100% true, especially for non-emergency calls. The problem is if you don't report the crimes, it's really hard for us to have accurate data that demonstrates where there's a hot spot that needs additional resources. And it doesn't give me the data that I need to do other types of public safety and homelessness interventions. So if you are aware of crimes or they've happened to you or you're aware of it in the neighborhood, you really need to report it. A lot of reporting can be done online. You can also go to the station on Culver Boulevard and report crimes in person. You can also, you know, wait it out on the non-emergency number. But you know that the staffing at LAPD is very, very dangerously critically low. They're going to be down to about 8,600 sworn police officers by the end of the year. That is for a city of 4 million people. It is dangerously critically low. LAPD has been extremely generous with me and the team in giving us additional resources and additional patrols when we have needed them. But in the absence of additional patrol officers, because I'm a believer that their presence in the community is one of the best deterrents there is to crime, 100%. There just aren't enough of them. So in the absence of that, really hard to roll out our real-time crime centers, which is technology supplements, high quality networked cameras that can be available to LAPD if there is a situation that is happening in real time. LAPD could have live access to it for situational awareness. It is also a tool that can be used to help gather evidence to lead to arrest and prosecution later. So we're working with our HOAs and our commercial corridors to build out that camera infrastructure now so that when the real-time crime centers at LAPD go live here on the west side of CD11, we'll be ready to plug right in. When I took office, there were 3 pilot programs running in the city of Los Angeles, and I brought legislation that is now expanding those to all 21 of our divisions. Yes, so lots more to come on that. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was wondering, there's been a buzz about Ada and Paul Safran being remodeled. Oh, thank you. And the waterfront involved in a nightclub for the hotel. I'm wondering if you are aware or constitute any information about these rumors.
I haven't heard anything about either one of those. Sean, have you?
No, we have not, but you should share what you're hearing with us so we can validate or
Okay.
check on those things.
Yeah, email us and we can look into it. I'm not aware of anything having been submitted or filed and no one has. Yeah, well, I can go look and find out, but normally I hear chatter when things like that are happening and I haven't heard it yet. So we'll find out for you. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I don't know, should I ask you this about, about these two questions? My name is Mrs. K. Was working for 44 years. 35 years, I was working in United States. I was paying taxes, me, my husband, God bless his soul. Now my children working, I'm retired, I'm pensioned. I am Greek Democrat. But I am Greek Democrat because I believe in God, transparency, truthfulness, and helping out the people. My pension is not very big, not because they should be paying me absolutely different amount. But in time when I went on pension 22 years ago, and I was 67 in time when I went, retired. They put my pension close to my husband's. So I got it, half of that's what I should have. My first question is, why I have to pay my health net insurance, and I do pay, and I was working, and I was paying him. I was paying for all medication, what I'm buying from out the counter. My first question. Second question, you perfectly know what Kennedy said. Not that's what you are asking the government give it to you, that's what you give to your country where you live. And I'm very upset with lots of things which is going out nowadays. These people shouldn't be not on the street, they should be kicked out of the country, or they should be kissing the earth on what they working. My second question about CalFresh. My CalFresh.
Can I answer one at a time, because I might not remember them both?
No, Medicare, medical, you know why I have to everything paid for. And the second question is, CalFresh was helping me out to pay, the everything was my necessities.
Yeah.
And what is, how I could pay if CalFresh is taking out, but CalFresh, you know how many people they got over here to take to our country, and they having much more money than I do have. And that's making me very upset. And that's, I came to United States, thanks God. 53 years ago, I was working after 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I started to work. I put my 2 children to work, and my husband, who was an engineer, went to a company working as an engineer. So he was working. You understand what I said? Okay, thank you very much. And how you can help me out, or help out everyone who is in this type of condition.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack in that. So with your CalFresh benefits, I'm gonna have you stay in touch with Juan, and we can put you in touch with our resources. As you know, right now, with the federal government shutdown and defunding of some of our essential programs, we are seeing disruption to food support services and other things like that. We have additional resources as a council office. We can connect people with food and other types of supports to help us cover this gap in the interim. I don't know how long this is going to go on. It is somewhat hard to predict. It doesn't seem like the politicians in Washington, DC want to get back to work. They've been shut down for 5 weeks. I hear you about transparency and honesty. That is something.
Lying to people, that's making me sick. I was brought up
that is something that is missing, I think, in all layers of government and politics. And I appreciate you saying it, because it's something that I think it is really important for us to fix. And that's why we come to the local communities. That's why you see us out here all the time. Because I feel the same way. I don't even like politics. And I don't like City Hall very much either, actually. As to your pension and your health care, without knowing what is in your pension plan or what your health care coverage or reimbursement terms are, I can't answer it off the cuff. But if you want to get your contact information, I'm happy to give you a look at it and see if there may be some city resources or departments that we might be able to put you in touch with to get you some help. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, sorry, one second. We're gonna take one in the front, just 1 second. Greg is going to translate.
Yes, the question is, why did they took, why did they remove all the food stamps and we can't survive without that?
So Greg, can you tell her the federal government has suspended funding and that we are more than happy to help connect her to food support resources in the meantime? Sorry, go ahead, you're up now.
So there's a very serious concern about the safety of seniors and everyone actually who walk on the oceanfront walk, having to do with these e-bikes. We see many of them going between 20 and 30 miles an hour. They're like zipping through. And until someone gets hit, gets knocked down, maybe dies, I don't think anything's gonna be done about it. I think you've already answered the question that there's really not enough police or staff to watch over that sort of thing, but I wonder if you have any ideas as to how they can be slowed down, or if they can be ticketed, if they can be fined, or anything that will improve the situation.
Sorry, that sounds like a question for you. What are we doing about the reckless e-bikes on Oceanfront Walk? Some of them are not even bikes. Some of those things are motorcycles. Yes. All right. Sergeant Calvan.
Oh, that one? That's all. Good afternoon, everyone. Sergeant Chris Galvin, LAPD Pacific Division, Venice Beach Task Force. I can answer that question specifically. We're looking to fix the entirety of the problem. First, you have to understand the problem. So the problem is we have 8 bicycle shops that are renting out vehicles that are illegal to ride anywhere on Oceanfront Walk or on the bike path or on a road. They're actually not class 1 or class 2 e-bicycles. They are e-mopeds or motorcycles due to the amount of power they produce. So that's gated. To be a class 1 or class 2 e-bike, you have to keep it under a certain speed limit or be under a certain wattage in the engine. Quite frankly, the vehicles that we're seeing out here don't fall into that. The technology has outstripped the laws. So in conjunction with CD11, I've actually submitted legislative edits to the vending laws and the laws that regulate the bike shops. We're going to be restricting them from being able to rent those bicycles in the future and those vehicles. That is coming. In the meantime, I've done an assortment of Meridian barricades right over here on Navy. And we also have a Meridian gate, a beam arm gate right over here on roads. You've all seen that. You're all familiar with it. We're looking at implementing more barricades to that effect because we found that with all the traffic coming in from Santa Monica, when they hit those barricades and they see that, they will tend to turn and go onto the bike path. They will completely avoid Oceanfront Walk because it makes more sense for them to go in that direction. We're going to put more barricades up throughout Oceanfront Walk, and that'll redirect people onto the bike path safely that are still able, like pedestrians will be able to easily get through the barricades, whereas bicycles and any other larger bike type vehicle will be severely restricted. So they'll have to get through a choke point, basically similar to what we have at the beam arm gate, where there's constant head flow going through it. And they quite frankly don't want to slow down, stop, get off their bike and walk through it before they can continue going. So they will by design use the bike path. In addition to that, we have been conducting enforcement and we will be stepping up enforcement on that. But it's important to understand that the problem is bigger than the enforcement allows, meaning that there are far more people riding bicycles here than I have police officers. So any amount of enforcement that we do right now at this stage will largely go unnoticed. Quite frankly, 1 million bicycles are everywhere. We're going to fix this problem. It's not gonna be fixed overnight, but it will be fixed through design and engineering improvements of the front walk going forward.
Maybe we can put some spike strips down along the way.
That is the final one.
Not kidding. Like some kind of infrastructure that you can't ride a bike over.
Yes,
That a pedestrian can easily step over, but
there's actually small curves or bumps, like the little, they look like little discs on the ground. We've been talking about possibly putting, yeah, very small, very easy for a pedestrian to walk over. Very difficult for a bicycle to go over.
I disagree because the bicycles by the cafe on Rose, they go through, and we gotta. Sometimes you have to direct them to go, they don't stop when they walk their bike, they're able to get through that little path. The bicycles.
So I,
Dangerous, because now they're driving through that little spot.
They're already. Yeah, it's even sometimes like little mopeds are going through that path by Rose Avenue, it's a nightmare,
huh,
right there, cause you know, where I live, I walk there.
so I haven't heard of that happening. I haven't gotten any reports of people being hit at that location. But going forward, we are looking at putting in more of a slalom style barricade where someone would have to make like a strange S turn to get through, and that will absolutely slow down or stop bicyclists trying to ride through.
I think there are a couple of those around, maybe in Playa del Rey and some other places, over on Thatcher in Marina del Rey.
I know that some of the beach cities to the south already have them in. Want to say El Segundo or Manhattan Beach or Hermosa have them in play, and they're pretty effective down there. It's just for the same type of thing. You're forcing the crowd to do a weird S turn to get through it, and that stops bicyclists because it's too difficult.
All right, they have another question in here?
We received an anonymous question directed at you. Is that cop tingle? Not kidding.
Well, anonymous, well done.
That's
Thank you for coming and talking to us. I really appreciate it. I'm building just across this parking lot over here. My apartment faces the parking
Hold on
lot.
one sec, hold on.
And I have a question about this parking lot. Are we going to do something to manage the parking here? I have to tell you, the police have done an amazing job of cleaning things up over the last year, but there still is a lot of abuse. Could we have a parking kiosk, for example? Something that would encourage people to pay to park there for short periods
Where's
of
the
time.
parking issue?
Just
right now,
you're
these
looking
lots?
at it. If you're looking out the window, you're looking at the parking
So
lot.
are these designated for you guys as residents?
No, it's public
Just
parking.
public parking.
It's public parking, and I can't tell you the number of nights I have watched people party there, bring in their travel vans.
I remember when there were
Tents.
encampments up against the windows. Yeah, I remember.
Yes, so, and the situation, like I said, has gotten much, much better. But I think we also need a way to, there are parking regulations posted, they're not posted well, but they are posted. And it would make such a huge difference if we could have like a parking kiosk. So that it would be easier for the police or parking enforcement to actually issue a ticket to someone who's been parking there all day or 3
days, yeah. I can't see the sign from here, but do you know what the posted restrictions are? Hold on one second, it's from 6 to.
You know what I did?
Hold on one sec, is it no parking from 6 PM to what?
the parking that's, as I read it, is you can park between 6 AM and 10 PM. It's a 2-hour parking time slot and no parking between 10 PM and 6 AM.
So, Ron, Sean, I know we get pushback from Coastal Commission when we try to do meters or things like that.
Meters only for commercial zones, and the coastal commission would. Could check the zoning again, although it's a residential building, it could be on a C
Could
zone.
be on a season.
Have to check again.
That's in terms of your zoning.
And we have explored a few options, both ADA options, there's additional funding that we have to look at. But I would say, given kind of everything we've done over the last few years, we've focused on bigger issues, we've gone to smaller things, as you can see, we're focusing on pagodas now. I think summer of '26 is definitely bandwidth to look at revisiting the use of this, because depending on what the community that is directly impacted kind of wants to see. Depends how Sean and I have to approach this, because as you know, we are in the coastal zone, so there's that layer of it. But we're definitely open to some options, especially since there's kind of two residential and the bar kind of impacted. I think in coordination, we can get to an understanding of what everyone would like to see, so that Sean and I can then can come back, bring those conversations back with DOT, because they've looked at this site. We've looked at a few things to see what we can add in order to add more ADA stalls, which was a request we got. There's additional infrastructure funding that I need to get, but definitely something we can explore again, or just changing the hours might be a little easier. Then we focus a little more with DOT, our officers on citing any of the violations here.
The problem is, it doesn't really matter what you make the hours if nobody from DOT is willing to do the ticketing on it. And that's a consistent challenge we've had with parking violations and oversized vehicles and some of the other problems.
Well, it is not uncommon, like on the weekends when the waterfront is really busy, I see cars double and triple parked. When I say that, there's the diagonal parking and then there's two rows of people parking and, one behind the other.
And let me ask that.
Probably just because it's free and the parking lots.
Well, there is some.
Which is crazy.
That's probably why. Have we called DOT as the enforcement line? We can give you that number because
I can't tell you how many times I've.
Okay.
Sometimes they.
So let us follow up with the call log, because they'll give it to us and let us know, and then that will allow us, especially if you're calling, that will allow us to kind of focus on Saturdays, let's just say a Saturday night. Hey, sergeant and captain, can we get an additional deployment? Constituents have said, here are the peak hours of maximum violation of sorts. And we can definitely have them focus. We can make certain requests. Again, it's not every day, but if there is a trend that you see, Sean and I can work on trying to increase some enforcement on your worst days. And double parking and some of those are things that DOT should be able to enforce at the very least site. And if you're telling me cars are parking along the wall, some of those might even be tollable violations.
Well, aren't the scissor gate things, those, what are they called,
The meridians?
meridians? Don't those help keep some of those bikes off the path?
No, that for
Set
sure,
those
yeah.
up in a way that would deter people from being on Oceanfront Walk? I don't know if you guys have seen these scissor meridians that have been stationed out there. This is,
So the meridian gates that are out on Navy are meant to be connected. The way that they're deployed, they're set in lines of 3. And they're supposed to be sequential, meaning that when they're actually connected, someone will have to make a difficult U-turn on a bike to get through them. Right now, if you go and look at them, there are 3 sets of 3 and they're overlapping for that purpose. Once we connect them, they will have to make a hard U-turn twice to get through there.
why aren't they connected now?
Working on the logistics of what we can connect them with. And
That's gonna help with the Oceanfront Walk bikes, by the way.
those, in-
Get that figured out.
the issue is that those are a rental set and we have a permanent set that we're buying. It'd be very easy once we have a permanent set, we'll just weld some stuff to it. But attaching it in a permanent fashion that's still mobile if we need to break it down is the logistical hurdle. And we'll have that solved out. Yes.
So, and that has been.
They won't be able to do that once we have our permanent ones.
Yeah.
These were renting. But thanks to your team, they scoured to get funding to get us our own set so that we can permanently install them.
Then I'd say that's, as I've mentioned, every year we've kind of looked at different safety improvements, what we can do. Obviously, the first year was encampments and everything going there, and every year we try to, make the beach a little bit better. One of the main things that was on everybody's radar was vehicles coming on to OFW and the safety. So we had been looking at some of those options. This summer, we deployed them for the pilot. We got the extension through the fall. And we're confirming the full purchase and a permanent set for OFW. that will be here moving forward to make sure that we, again, just kind of reduce the traffic when it comes to vehicles. I think it's. Nothing is ever zero. I never want to get to that, but I think it's almost there on that point, in terms of major vehicles coming up and down. And it has reduced the bike traffic, but you know, bike traffic is definitely a whole other animal in terms of that, but it's definitely not stopping it. There are ways we're gonna tweak them to reduce it even more. But those are just some of the trends that we're tracking on our end as well, from all the feedback we hear from you guys constantly. So thank you guys.
So I have a question or a couple of comments.
But I can't see you. Where is it?
Yeah,
Oh, there you are.
I danced with you up on the hill, so I have to give you a few extra. My dear friend said to be, and some of my homeless advocate friends were disgusted, shocked, and in tears about what happened. From the Woodland Center many years back, and that's when they implemented the no bike law. And then, not too many years ago, I was knocked down by a scooter, broke my leg and my hip, and I almost died. And after that happened, I was sitting on the bench with a friend, and one of your police cruisers went by, the scooters were going around, and she yelled, "Why don't you give them a ticket?" And a couple of your officers laughed and said, "Oh, we don't want to bother the tourists." So what happened after this woman had died, there was one officer, I believe his name was Officer Mueller, and he used to walk the beat himself several times a day on his own, and he would yell, "Get off your bike, get off." And if he saw you the second time, he gave you a ticket, and all by himself, he pretty much stopped it. And I think we could still do that. You guys could do that today. You alone could walk this beat. And he, not only that, but he knew everybody on the street. He knew everybody because he would walk the beat and talk to me and everybody out here. He knew everybody. One day he was walking the beat and a bike went by and he yelled, "Off your bike." And the lady did get off, said, "Could I borrow your bike?" He jumped on my bike and he chased her down and gave her a ticket. All by himself. So I think it could be ended immediately. All you guys have to do is have your ticket book all written out, ready, and go bang, 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 and it would end in one day. It would be over. The word would get out and that you're getting tickets out here and it would end. Thank you.
I'll tell you, Sarge is really good at giving tickets.
Yeah.
I've asked him to do some ticketing enforcement work before, and he sends me photos of the piles of them on his desk as a receipt, so, I know he will do that, but.
So I would just like to start off saying, sorry that happened to you. Your whole experience of being hit, that sounds pretty horrible. I was not here 4 years ago. I've been on the beach for about 1 year. That being said, I can share with you a couple of numbers that will help you out to understand the bigger picture. Since I got here, we've been doing statistical reviews of things. The department does this all the time, see our numbers. I can tell you that crime across the board, all categories, is down in the 30 percentiles. So that's like between 30 and 39% across for everything. The focus, the hotspot is shifted. It is not on Oceanfront Walk. It is actually just east now. And that's largely a testament to the hard work my officers have been putting in all summer. And the new strategies that we were applying to Oceanfront Walk and the things that we were addressing. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, there's a lot of stuff out here that my officers are allowed to do. And a lot of times it feels like I'm holding a handful of pennies and I'm being asked to buy a whole bunch of stuff. But we very creatively are making it work. We're also looking for engineering solutions to solve those types of problems. I can tell you that from this time last year, so we just had another annual review, citations are up 90%. So huge amounts of enforcement going on, but to your point, you're like, man, I look and there's bicycles everywhere. That's what I'm talking about. We have to funnel down the problem through engineering and design where it's actually a manageable level. I could spend all day chasing people, but there would still be more people. There's far too many. And we're seeing three demographic groups that. Number one is our own bike shops. They are renting out vehicles that are illegal. They're not allowed to be driven anywhere. They're e-motorcycles, basically. We're gonna address that with some legislation. We can, and that one will get shut down. The other one we're getting is cross traffic in from other cities, taking the bike path. Very nice bike path. It'd be nice if they stayed on it. Just as you come in from Santa Monica, if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna keep going straight. Yes, you have to make a right turn to get on the actual bike path. You keep going, you go on to OFW, that's no point. So when we get the Navy set of Marines connected, I think that'll shut it down somewhere in the ballpark of 30–40% for any bicycles you see at all on Ocean Walk. That's not counting the ones that try to come in. There'll be way less trying to come in. But just because they know that's in place, they'll stop doing it. And I'm talking about the locals that live on the beach, not just here, but all the way up the coast and all the way down the coast. They'll know that that's in place and they'll avoid it. It's design implements like that we're looking to enhance across Ocean Walk to make sure that people actually use a bike path. We want to do this all without affecting tourism. So tourism is huge. And if someone comes here from another country, and I like to use this example. If there was 8 shops selling fireworks on Oceanfront Walk, you'd assume fireworks are legal, right? You see everyone doing it. Like, wow, this is great. This is a cool place. So you get involved in doing that. Citing those people will not change anything because they will get back on a plane and go back to France, and we'll just get a negative Yelp review, like 1 star, Venice, we're not go there. So we're looking to fix the problem without affecting the revenue for the city, and without affecting the population. We're looking to do it in a way that also enhances public safety. And for me, that means we need to win by design. We need to win through making the space difficult to use on a bicycle, but very easy to use as a pedestrian. We're looking at putting those plans and implementation changes in. We're looking at pedestrian gates, curbs, actual meridian barricades. We're gonna have a second beam arm gate that's being purchased as part of the permanent set. So it'll look just like the one that's out on the boardwalk already, but a second one you can put out. Combination of all these things, we should be able to funnel down the amount of bicycles we have, a very manageable number, in which case we will just have people who are there who we can cite and squash the problem.
As for the illegal businesses, just FYI, so we just checked in with the city hall team, we're already working on legislation with the city attorney's office.
The box that they have,
Yeah.
huge.
The team's already working on it, so
Okay,
bear with us while we close that loophole.
I was told one more question.
Okay, sure.
Hi, my name is April Woods. I am the director of the preschool and our programs over at Mishkan Tefillo over on Main Street. And we love coming to the bar center, so thank you for having us here. Our preschoolers walk over here for Shabbat and it's super lovely. I wanted to introduce myself and thank you for the work that you're doing. We are definitely experiencing the effects of some of the homelessness that you've been talking about, and with camps being overnight in front of the preschool, where we've been trying very hard to be able to provide a safe space for our children to come to school. Those effects, because of what's happening overnight, trickle into the morning and is at many times too much for us to clean up before school starts. So I just wanted to bring awareness to that, and thank you for the efforts you've done so far and continue to do.
You're very welcome, and thank you for bringing that to my attention. I am not okay with encampments around schools, period. Schools, daycares, preschools, period. So thank you. I know that will run back up the chain at LAPD because now they heard me say it. Not okay. Thank you. Do we need a sign over there? We have one? Okay, all right.
Sean's all over.
Thank you.
He's killing the game on your behalf.
Thank
For this one and the community, and the LAPD have been very reactive so far, but the more light we can shine on for our kids,
We'll keep at it. We'll keep at it. And I'm gonna keep at it. I know we are down to some tough cases, but I'm gonna keep at it until we get this problem under control. Every day, this is what this team works on, every single day. So we are not gonna stop until we get it done. All right, I'm being given the wrap it up sign. Thank you all for having us today. It's been lovely to be with you. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Sure. I would love that.